When I was 4 years old, my dad walked out and left me with an abusive mother, and I never saw him again. Would you like to hear the story? Reggie's had enough of that, clearly. But would you like to hear the story? I'm not going into the details of my mother and father's relationship because it's not my business. I know it's all, but it's not my business. But they were in an abusive / toxic relationship. My mum decided to have children with him anyway. He, when I was 4, decided to leave and never came back. And a year later, my mother met my stepfather, and I was forced to call this man my dad. When you're 5 years old, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, you're like, oh, okay, you go along with anything. So I went along with it, and then once I got to about 7, I was like, you're not my dad. I'm actually grieving my father, like my biological father. Like, I'm sad about that. So I'm not going to call you dad. And I voiced that to my mum, and my mum told me it didn't matter how I felt, that the image of like him being my dad was so important. I could never tell anybody outside of the house that he wasn't my dad, because she was absolutely terrified of people knowing. I had a lot of resentment towards my stepdad for that, even though he was always like trying to encourage me to speak about my feelings. Look at this patchy tan, sorry. He was encouraging me to talk about my feelings. Mother was like, no, you can't, basically. There's no space for that in this family. So yeah, so I dealt with that. It's like, I spent a lot of my childhood like thinking that I was so broken because of my dad leaving. And actually, through therapy recently, I've realised I was so broken mostly because of how my mum was abusing me. And I thought, mum thought, everyone thought I was broken because my dad left and I was grieving him. And yeah, I was sad about it, and that felt like such a loss. And I think, but what I really struggled with was how mum treated me, how I was blamed for everything, how mum shared things with me that she should never have shared with me. I think it's really important to talk about how toxic parents blame other toxic parents instead of taking accountability for their actions. Like, both of those actions cause trauma. Like, my dad leaving caused trauma, my mum abusing me caused trauma, but she consistently blamed and brainwashed me to believe that I was sad growing up because of his actions, when actually it's a combination of the two. So I just thought I'd share that today for Father's Day. Okay, if you've got any questions about my dad, my sperm donor, let me know.